So I've got written down here, and I'm not entirely well, I am a little bit sure why. Disney free cash flow returns higher than expected, and therefore begins to repay its dividend. I think this is a stupid call, and I think now I'm looking down the list of my predictions. I think these are more hopeful than they are with any actual backing. But I think that the return of Bob Iger is going to support He's going to make some cuts back in certain areas of markets, even though I think some of the latest films aren't doing as well as they should do. But I think parks are going to completely reopen soon. That is going to push free cash flow up. And by at least December 2023, I reckon that's more likely. December 2023, the dividend returns to Disney, and that gets shareholders back on board.
Oh, that's bold, that.
Thoughts?
I think, again, I think you may be a little bit early to that. I think 2023 is not going to be the year. I think 2023 is the year that Disney sets itself up to potentially start paying its dividend at a later period. I think it's going to go through a pretty decent-sized restructuring. Iger is doing all of the things Chapek is doing, but without annoying everybody while they're doing it.
Yeah.
Iger's going to go through the restructuring that Chapek was going to do. He's going to do the things at the park that Chapek was already setting out to do. He's going to keep pushing content onto Disney Plus in the way that that Chapek was going to do. But I think he's going to do that in a little bit of a more moderated way. I don't think that the dividend returns this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if it returns in the next sort of 2 to 3 years. I think Disney is now at a sort of scale where they can handle the amount of that they want to spend on Disney Plus, and I think they've got that kind of, the park side of the business is pretty much all sussed out. So I think the dividend is going to come back eventually, but I wouldn't expect it next year.
You don't want to. You definitely want the dividend, Paul. You don't want a nice sort of share buyback type thing.
I know what you. I knew. I see. This is where the questions come up, don't they? And I agree. Reinvestment is in the film. The film industry right now is pretty desperate to keep up with Netflix. So yes, there are very good reasons not to return the dividend. But I believe that, like you said, I think Biger, I'm going to call him Biger from now on, is returning and doing everything that Chapek says with a little bit more finesse and a little bit more likable stuff. And I think that is going to drive a big thing at the end of the year and cause him to pay back a 1% dividend by the end of the year.
You know, I'd be more keen, just thinking out loud, I'd probably more keen if they took my dividend and slammed it on that debt pile at the moment. I'd kind of want to see them just bring that down a little bit. It's quite a chunky old pile of debt.
It's coming down.
Yeah, that's a chunky old pile of debt, though. I'd like to see that come down a little bit quicker before I get a dividend, because I think naturally paying off some of the debt a little bit early does free up cash flow in the future, doesn't it? And that's kind of where I'm thinking with Disney at the moment.
It depends how you see the business itself, isn't it? Do you see it as this agile growth company anymore, or do you see it as a bit more of a mature company that's trying to spread out? And that is the question for me. I think that the investors within Disney want the dividend returned. I think there will be pressure on that coming back.